16 തുടങ്ങാം. ഓക്കെ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യും.
ഞാനിപ്പോ അയച്ചേക്കാം ചോദിച്ചു. ഞാനിപ്പോ അയച്ചേക്കാം.
Asha, just send the mail.
Okay, I'll do that.
I will present it, no problem. Hello friends, warm welcome from Martha's Training College. You are in Indepth program. This is a weekly program by the research wing of Martha's Training College. Warm welcome to everyone. Now this is organized by the research wing of Martha's Training College, and I am Dr. Joju John from Martha's Training College. Warm welcome to everyone to this weekly insightful program. Now, research scholars, you may commence the program now.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Respected principal, sir, dear Joju, sir, our invited guest of the day, Dr. Asha, ma'am, dear all participants who have joined and yet to join, a very good evening to all. Myself, Tara Rajendran. I heartily welcome you all to the 18th talk series of our Insight In-Depth webinars, conducted by the Research Wing, Madhya Training College, Nalanchira. Today's talk is on life skills, the key to excellence, by Dr. Asha, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. Now let us get started with an invocation to the Almighty, the prayer. I request Sanila, ma'am, for the prayer. Sanila, ma'am, please.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you, Sanila, ma'am. A genial warm welcome is all that we deserve to get into. I call Megha Suraj Koshi to come up with the welcome address. Megha, ma'am, please.
Thank you, Tara. Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished principal, respected teachers of the college, and all those who have joined us from other esteemed institutions, fellow research scholars, and dear teacher trainees. Welcome everyone to another enlightening session of the Insight In-Depth Talk series hosted by Martha's Training College, Trivandrum. This is the 18th talk of the series, and today we have Dr. Asha A.K. with her insights on life skills, the key to excellence. I welcome our dear principal, Dr. K.Y. Benedict, to whose vision and guidance this institution is indebted. We welcome you, sir, to the session. I am excited to welcome our speaker of the day, Dr. Asha A.K., Assistant Professor, Aishabai College of Education, SNDT University, Mumbai. Tonight, she will be speaking on life skills, the key to excellence. Ma'am, we are happy to have you at the Insight In-Depth series. On the behalf of everyone online, I extend a warm welcome to you, ma'am. A warm welcome to Dr. Joju John, the Research Coordinator of Mar Theophilus Training College. We are thankful to you, sir, for your kind support, suggestions, and guidance. Finally, I extend a hearty welcome once again to all those who have joined us online through Google Meet as well as in our live stream via YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you, Megha. Today's talk, as said, is on life skills by Dr. Asha ma'am. Let us have a short intro to the vibrant personality, Dr. Asha A.K., Assistant Professor, Al-Shabaab College of Education, Mumbai. I invite Sindhu A. Sara to introduce the guests to our participants. Sindhu ma'am, please.
Am I audible, Thara?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce the speaker for today, Dr. Asha A.K., Assistant Professor, Aishabai College of Education, SNDT, University, Mumbai. Dr. Asha has an MA in English, a PhD in Education, and is a CLTA holder of Cambridge University. She is an excellent communicative English and life skill trainer. She was a news reader of Surya TV and has anchored various public programs and seminars. She has also taken the central role in conducting intercollegiate quiz programs for B.Ed students of the University of Kerala. We welcome you, ma'am, to this program. Let us all lend our ears to Dr. Asha as she talks to us on the topic, Life Skills, the Key to Excellence.
Thank you, Sindhu ma'am. Many rivulets run to the river, so is our knowledge. With all our hearts and mind, let us listen to our speaker, Dr. Asha A.K. But before we get started, let us have a little homemaking process. Dear participants, please mute your mic and video for an uninterrupted and smooth conduction of the presentation, or follow as instructed by the presenter. Participants, both in the Meet and on the YouTube platform, can pose their queries in the chat box. Those will be surely addressed. Once again, thank you all for joining us today. So, without much ado, let us turn the time over to Dr. Asha ma'am. Ma'am, the platform is yours. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Thara, and thank you, Megha. Joju sir, you got the PowerPoint? Joju sir, you got the mail?
I got it, and I will present it after your intro and the video.
Okay. Yeah, first, you may please show the video. Let's watch a video first. Let's watch a video first. Joju sir,
May I, Jojo sir?
Sanila, please.
yeah, Sanila, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir. Am I visible to you? Am I visible to you?
Yes, ma'am. You are visible.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I find myself in a shade of darkness. That's why I'm asking. Because since it's evening, the lighting in the room is not so convenient. Okay. Yeah, Sanila, thank you so much. Please present. Thank you, Sanila. As the video says, the real kindness is when you're ready to give up something that you really need. This is empathy, one of the most important life skills that we need. Understanding someone from their perspective, showing kindness and care, empathy. We'll deal with empathy in detail later. We all love stories. Stories are wonderful, inspiring, and interesting. And I'm sure all of you
Dr.
have read
Asha,
this.
Dr.
Yes,
Asha,
Yes,
shall
sir.
I interfere for 1 second, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With your permission only. Hello,
Yes, sir.
friends. The students of Marketplace Training College are requested to join YouTube. Some of the students, because we have to maintain the participants level from 80 to 90 only. Now we have got 95, so that the guests can enter the platform itself. So some of the students and some of the resource scholars are requested to join the YouTube link when there is excess of 90 participants in the Google Meet. Thank you. Dr. Asha, sorry for the interruption. Can
No, sir. No issues. No issues.
I am ready for presenting. Okay.
Yes, sir. You can. So stories are wonderful, inspiring, and interesting ones. And I'm sure all of you have read the story of the thirsty crow. Let's read the story once again. Jojo, sir, please.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Jojo,
Uh,
sir.
Mr. Pramod Kumar, can you please start presenting?
Pramod Kumar, sir, could you please stop presenting? Pramod Kumar, sir, could you please stop presenting?
No, madam.
Yes, ma'am. Could you please show the story of the thirsty crow? It was a sunny day. The weather was too hot. A thirsty crow was looking for water. She searched everywhere. She couldn't find a pond or river nearby. She has been flying for a long time in search of water. She felt so tired. She said, I need to get some water. I'm so thirsty. She started looking for water again, and to her luck, she found a tall clay jar with a little water in it. Feeling excited, she flew towards the jar. But when she reached there, she got disappointed and said, My God, the water level is exceptionally low. How can I drink it? The crow tried and tried, but couldn't reach the water. She said, Without breaking the jar or toppling it, I have to find a way of drinking water. She looked around and saw some pebbles. I think these pebbles can help me, she said. She picked them one by one and dropped it into the jar carefully. She was exhausted, but continued dropping the pebbles. Slowly, the water level came up. She drank the water and quenched her thirst. She flew away happily. Did you like the story? How was the story? I'm sure all of us at one point in time might have got inspired by the story. Thank you so much. Yeah. So what life skills did the crow apply here? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what are the life skills the crow has applied here without knowing that they are life skills? But they were her life savings.
Problem solving.
Yes, of course. Problem solving. Yes. Yeah, Deepti ma'am, could you please move to the third slide? The first one was self-awareness. The crow realized, the crow realized that she is thirsty and she must do something to find water. Second, decision making. She started to look for water.
Dr. Asha, once again, let me interrupt. Sorry.
It's okay, it's okay.
Everybody kindly pin Deepti Matthew. Everybody kindly pin Deepti Matthew. Okay? In order to watch the slides, kindly pin Deepthi Matthew. Thank you very much.
And the third skill, yes, sir. Thank you so much. The third one is critical thinking, the ability to identify the problem. The crow found that the water level is low and she cannot reach it. The jar is heavy. She cannot either topple it or break it. And comes creative thinking. The crow has used the pebbles creatively, which were the immediately available resource. And comes the problem solving skill. She found a solution to her problem by thinking creatively. So, what are life skills? According to the World Health Organization, next slide, please. Life skills are abilities for adaptive and positive behavior that enable humans to deal effectively with the demands and challenges of everyday life. This concept is also termed as psychosocial competency. Life skills bring together our social, emotional, and cognitive abilities to analyze a problem, solve it, thus reaching our goals. Studies have shown that the development of life skills are critical to the success in school and life. Why do we teach life skills? Because life skills education contribute to basic education, gender equality, democracy, efficiency of education system, promotion of peace, quality of life, and lifelong learning. So life skills equip students to thrive in the classroom and in the world beyond. Next slide, please. WHO has recommended 10 core life skills: critical thinking, creative thinking, decision making, and problem solving, which are categorized as the thinking skills. Self-awareness, interpersonal skills, empathy, and effective communication, which are the social skills, and coping with stress and coping with emotions are the emotional skills. Thinking skills, what are they? Skills related, the previous one, please. Skills related to thinking. It related to reflection at a personal level. Critical thinking, what's it? What did the crow display? The ability to analyze information in an objective manner, recognize and assess the factors that influence attitude and behavior, form right attitudes towards life. And what's creative thinking? It's a novel way of seeing or doing things, an ability to look beyond direct experience. It adds novelty and flexibility in life. And decision making, the ability to assess options and choose the best option. Problem solving, solve an issue or a problem or a conflict without anger, frustration, intimidation, or aggressive force or behavior. It helps us to deal constructively with problems. And social skills. What are social skills? Skills related to dealing with others, that is related to interpersonal skills, and do not necessarily depend on logical thinking. Self-awareness is recognition of oneself. Interpersonal skills, understand our relations, maintain a friendly relationships. Empathy, we have seen that, to be in another person's shoes. Effective communication, to communicate, to converse, to achieve, and to gain. Coping with stress, identify ways to control stress, making changes in lifestyle, and learning to say no. And coping with emotions, our ability to recognize emotions, being aware of the influence of emotions in our life, and respond to emotions, not react. It's not practically possible to understand all the life skills in a 1 hour session. So let's see a few main skills and some sub skills. Let's remember one thing, all the skills are integrated with each other. Next slide, please. Do you have a pen or paper with you? Or even you can think the answers. Who am I? What makes me happy? What makes me upset? What makes me irritated? Am I sensitive? Am I strong? What am I proficient at? What skill do I need to develop? What type of a teacher do I want to become? Am I passionate about teaching? In order to be aware of oneself, we need to ask some questions to ourselves and answer them. One of the most important skills that we need to possess is self-awareness. And what's self-awareness? Being aware of oneself, one's feelings, behavior, actions, etc. It's one of the first components of self-concept. It becomes woven into the fabric of who we are. Depending on our personality and the situation, this psychological trait of self-awareness emerges for our need. Next slide. And self-awareness is a recognition of oneself. It's a prerequisite for effective communication, interpersonal relationship, and empathy. It enables to handle problems of life, make meaningful choices, and initiate negotiations. It helps us to handle emotions without fear, anger, or aggressive, forceful behavior. There are two types of self-awareness: public self-awareness and private self-awareness. What's public self-awareness? How we appear to others. It compels us to adhere to the social norms, to behave in ways that are socially acceptable and desirable. And what's private self-awareness? How we become aware of some aspects of us, but only in a private way. Seeing our face in a mirror, realizing butterflies in our stomach just before examinations, we realize it. Feeling your heart flutter when you see someone you're attracted to. Today is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Valentine's Day is not just a day for lovers, it's a day for everyone who love each other, for the whole world. Happy Valentine's Day once again. Yeah. So what could be the self-awareness strategies? How can we become aware of oneself and become successful in life? Next slide, please. Self-awareness questionnaire. We have answered a series of questions now, right? You can create a self-awareness questionnaire for our students, help them realize their strengths and weaknesses. And one of the scientific self-awareness strategies is SWOT analysis to determine the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges. Earlier, it was termed as SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. From the negative term threat, it has been turned into a more positive term, challenges. And how does SWOT analysis help us? It helps us to get a clear perspective of our strengths. It highlights our weaknesses. It tells us about our weaknesses and challenges. We can work on it and improve the overall personality. SWOT analysis help us to understand and make necessary modifications in our curriculum, in our educational policies, learning activities, internships, etc. And comes another self-awareness strategy, the Johari window. The Johari window model is a simple and useful tool for illustrating and improving self-awareness. Next slide, please. It was devised by the American psychologist Joseph Lofton Harringham in 1995. The 4 panes of the Johari window model are here in front of you. Open or free area, or it's also called free self or the arena. What is known by the person about himself and is also known by others. We know each other. That's open area. Comes blind area or blind self or blind spot. What's unknown by the person about herself or himself, but others know. Let me give you an example. You know that I'm beautiful, but I don't know that. So that's a blind area for me. Just pun in it. Okay. Then comes hidden area or hidden self. It's also called avoided area or avoided self or facet. What the person knows about him or herself that others do not know. I know about myself certain things which you do not know. And comes the unknown area or the unknown self, which is the most unexplored area. What's unknown by the person about himself or herself? It's also unknown by others. So Johari window model, like some other behavioral models, it is also helping to give us a knowledge about a particular person in each group or team. It's an effective model to understand and optimize the value of people. Aristotle, the famous Greek philosopher, has rightly said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And Benjamin Franklin has put it in the best words. There are 3 things which are extremely hard: a steel, a diamond, and know oneself. Knowing oneself is very, very difficult. So let's make an attempt that we should know ourselves better. Let's look into ourselves. There's no universal answer because everybody is different. And the only person who can teach you self awareness is you. Others can only direct you. We can only take the horse to the water, not make him drink it. And self awareness is for our self empowerment and for self negotiation. For example, if someone tells you after your internship or after taking a class, your class was boring, how should we react? Do we become angry? We become upset? Or are we heartbroken? No. If we have developed the skill of self awareness, we'll definitely be analyzing the comment and the scenario. We don't react, but we proact to the comment. The comment was about a session. Analyze it. Be aware of the positive aspects of the class. Analyze the negatives. What went wrong? How we could have corrected it. Rather than getting upset about the comment, we think, analyze, and evaluate and make necessary changes. Thus, we ensure that our next session is the best. And a person with a proper self awareness will not take any negative remark to the heart and get dejected. What you do after knowing yourself is entirely dependent on you. How to promote yourself, how to modify yourself, how to face your challenges. Everything is dependent on the individual. Next slide, please. How does the skill of self awareness help us to be successful? It helps us to build on our strengths, identify our weaknesses, and work on it. Knowing and accepting our preferences and making changes in accordance with it. For example, we can identify what type of a learner are we. Am I an auditory learner or a visual learner? Owing to the pandemic, our classes used to be online, though we have opened our schools and colleges. Many sessions, including ours, are online currently. So our self-awareness about the type of learner we are help us in improving by answering the questions. How can I develop visual learning or auditory learning? How do I improve it? Am I a morning person or am I like an owl? We can change our learning timings and patterns in accordance with the biological clock. How about my skills in note-taking? How about my skills in note preparation, presentation of PowerPoints? What about my technological know-how? Where do I need to improve? The more self-aware we are, the more happy are we. So even if we have negatives in our life, once we are aware of our strengths and challenges, we can be successful in life. Let me show you the pictures of two people who are successful in life, irrespective of the so-called disabilities they have. Next slide, please. Sudha Chandran, the famous dancer and actress who met with an accident in her teenage, lost her leg. She has got a Paralympic leg now, and she is a dancer and an actress. Manasi Joshi, the Paralympic badminton player. Same. When we are aware of ourselves, we can utilize the skill in various life situations, in our classrooms, in our personal life, and in our social life. So self-awareness is an essential life skill which helps us to be successful in life. So let's make sure that we have acquired the skill of self-awareness. And next slide, please. Conflicts are a part and parcel of our lives. In our classroom, we may encounter situations. In smaller classrooms, children may say, "You broke my pencil. I'll tear your book. You don't give me chocolates. I'll not let you play with us." These conflicts are quite common in our classes. Ego is a major threat to our relations. Are we behind the children? No. What do we say? No, I won't share my PowerPoint with you. I won't share my lessons with you. I won't come with you. I won't come with you for the class. No, I don't want to talk to you. We also have conflicts. So they are a part and parcel of our lives. We face it everywhere. Let's respond to a situation and not react. Let's see the problem, analyze the problem, and resolve the matter before it escalates. We can choose to ignore, we can choose to come to an agreement, or we can choose to clearly convey our point. Let's make sure that we are calm and composed. Let's make sure that we use only dignified language. In our classrooms, in our staff room, in the office, etc., a colleague or friend may not give us a fair chance to do things. Our friend may complain about us to the principal. For example, you haven't submitted the question paper on time. You were late yesterday. At home, our husband or mother-in-law or kids or wives or kids, anyone can criticize us for daily chores. So what skill do we demonstrate here? The skill of conflict resolution. We respond to a situation, not react. In all the above-mentioned complaints, what should we ensure? We have to make sure that we see the problem, we analyze the problem, and resolve the matter before escalation. We can choose to ignore, come to an agreement, or convey clearly, but make sure we are calm and composed. Imagine you're stuck in the middle of a traffic jam. Someone behind you is honking continuously. You know very well that you cannot do anything but wait until the signal turns green and the vehicles ahead of you start moving. But the honking continues and is really irritating. It's a conflict situation. You might have faced it many a times, even I have faced it. Are we going to respond or react? Do you get out of your car and shout at them? Will you use abusive language? Or will you choose to ignore and wait for the signals? Daily, we find rude and irritating people in the bus, train, school, college, office, or market. Will you fight with them? If you fight, you are losing your peace of mind. So we need to practice the disassociation strategy here. Associate with the problem to analyze and resolve it. Disassociate with the problem so that we don't take it to heart. Let's leave it. And here comes our skill of negotiation. Next slide, please. No one can avoid negotiations. Be assertive, confident, and stern. And at the same time, make sure that we keep our options ready. Start by visualizing possible gains and losses. Practice negotiating. Determine our strategy according to the type of negotiation. Let's be flexible and sincere. Learn the other person's needs and be prepared to compromise. Showcase a win-win situation so that it's good for both sides. For example, we know that the prices of onions are soaring high. Earlier, it was almost 100, 120 rupees a kilo. Now, again, it has come down and again, it has soared up to 60, 70 a kilo. So when you go to a vegetable shop to buy onions, what do you do? If it is 70 rupees per kilo, you will say, no, it's too much. You may try to bargain. And sometimes you will get it for 65. Let it be. And this simple skill of bargaining becomes an effective negotiating skill if you can supplement it with critical thinking and effective communication. It's important in the classroom too, with your teacher, with your students, among colleagues, in all walks of life. This skill of negotiation is very, very important, or incredibly important. And comes another skill. When you're facing all these negotiation issues and anger, we have to make sure that we have the skill of anger management. You have to negotiate effectively and resolve conflicts. Developing the skill of anger management is highly essential. We learn to cope with stress and our emotions in an incredibly positive manner. It's coping with stress and emotions. Our rejections, our failures, our loss of control, our isolation, etc. are all the triggers. And to develop anger management skills, one should identify what triggers this anger and why. Then find ways to deal with those triggers. Devise strategies to tolerate, to be patient, to de-stress and resist the urge to overreact. Respond than react. Yoga, meditation, prayer, music, cinema, reading, nurturing hobbies, spending quality time with friends and family, etc. are excellent stress busters. So identify your stress buster, get engaged, de-stress, and be relaxed. And comes decision-making skill. The crow has taken a wise decision. She could drink the water. It's one of the 10 important core skills. recommended by WHO. Our ability to assess available options and to identify what is important or who is important. The ability to establish facts in the situation, to foresee the consequences of different actions or decisions. It can be an action or a non-action. And then choose the best option, implement the decision, and evaluate the outcome. Make sure that our decisions are right. And if you realize that it was a wrong decision, accept and acknowledge it. Rectify it if possible, or be cautious next time when you have to take a decision. Another important skill that we need to practice is, just have a look at this slide, effective communication. A teacher should possess the skill of communicating effectively. Next slide. Our communication becomes meaningful only when the message reaches audience or receiver conveying the same feeling. Our communication is complete only when the audience responds to the message. The response can be verbal or non-verbal. So how do we express our desires and opinions? Using language or using signs. And effective communication is a competency of a person to use the right words in the right context at the right time. Our words, idioms, phrases, and along with prosodic cues play an important role. The stress, rhythm, modulation of voice, pauses, accurate pronunciation, expressions, etc. makes our communication effective. And non-verbal communication plays an effective role here. Body language and gestures. What are they? Next slide. They are the non-verbal signals that we use to communicate our feelings, posture, facial expressions, gestures. And the positive signs are relaxed posture, sit straight, eye contact, smile, nodding in agreement or paying attention. And negative, staring, rubbing our nose, hiding our palms, yawning, fidgeting, looking at the watch or the door. So what are we supposed to do? Maintain an assertive posture. Sit straight or stand straight. Stop fidgeting. Use appropriate hand movements. Never point a finger at someone. It's an offensive gesture. Let's try to avoid it and make sure that when we speak looking at the eyes of the people. It helps them to be interested in our conversation, and it also helps us to improve our confidence. Here comes the role of facial expressions. What do you mean by facial expressions? Surprise, fear, disgust, contempt, anger, sadness, and happiness. Researchers at Ohio State University have found that humans can make 21 different facial expressions. And visually, the facial expressions, the positive ones, are simpler than the negative facial expressions. Then why do you go for negative ones? Let's have a smile in our face. There are some list of facial expressions here, and majority of them are negative. Let's avoid the negative ones and make sure that we adopt positive facial expressions. Let's appreciate people. Let's be happy. Let's have a smile on our face. Let's deal problems with a smile. Let's continue the smile and leave with a smile as well. Yeah, next slide. And a voice modulation in communication, one of the most powerful weapons. Not only does it reflect our confidence, but also it helps in conveying our audience about our beliefs and ideas. Audience get a good feel of the power of expressions, and it touches their heart. Voice modulation comprises of various prosodic cues. What are they? Volume, the loudness, that is, do not speak quietly or too loudly. Make sure a sound reaches the last person in the audience or the class. Pitch, the rate of vibration of our vocal cords. That's intonation is a part of modulation, the rise and fall of pitch. We can practice intonation. How do we practice intonation? Let's try to practice it. Okay. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. I'm sorry. Sa ni dha pa pa ga ri sa. extra and anticipatory bail for my voice. Lots of silver in it. Okay. So this simple sarigama technique is a beautiful way of practicing our intonation. Let's sing. Singing songs are a beautiful way of practicing intonation. And stress the flows with which a word or a phrase is uttered. And a change in stress implies change in meaning. I'm coming to Mumbai. I'm coming to Mumbai. The difference in stress. Rhythm, the choice of words and intonations we use, help us to give a rhythm to our speech. Rhythm is melodious, rhythmic speech, rhythmic presentation. We need to have that. So let's make sure that we have pauses. What do you mean by pauses? They are oral punctuation. It grabs the audience's attention, allows them to digest what we are saying, helps you to calm your nerves, collect our thoughts, get back on track. It helps in eliminating filler words. It adds variety to speech. Expression is the emotion or feeling we convey. So we have to make sure that when we speak, our speech has got the right stress, volume, pitch, rhythm, intonation, modulation, and appropriate pauses. And of course, meaningful expressions, which we need to convey. Then only our communication becomes important. And in communication, another important skill that we need to practice, one of the major skills of a language, is listening, along with speaking, reading, and writing. Listening helps us to understand clearly what another person is saying. Active listening helps us to set our expectations clear and be more productive. And it's useful in earning the trust and respect of our peers, understanding problems and devising solutions, and diffusing conflicts or conflict resolution. So how do we listen? Let's have an open mind. Be attentive and alert. Listen as if they are vital, and don't be in a rush to speak. Don't interrupt. Create a visual imagery when you listen. Ask questions only for better understanding. Get the feel of the speaker. Focus on non-verbal cues. Give appropriate feedback. Are you ready to do a listening activity? Shall we do a listening activity? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I request Jojo John sir to read a story for us. Jojo sir.
Am I audible?
Yes. It's the story of the monkey and the crocodile. Sir is going to read. Let's listen. Sir, please.
The story of the monkey and the crocodile. You have heard of the story of the monkey and the crocodile who were best friends. Let's modify the story in our own way. There is a big lake in Manandala. It has lots of crocodiles residing in it. Our crocodile, Kalia, was a gentleman who lived in the lake with his wife, Neeli. His best friend was a monkey named Chinkan who lived in the mango tree near the lake. Chinkan used to give lots of fruits like custard apple, guava, grapes, banana, etc. to his friend Kalia. He brings some of them back home for his pregnant wife Neeli. One day, Neeli told her husband, Chingan eats a lot of fruits. How tasty will be the heart of Chingan? I want to eat the heart of Chingan. No, he's my best friend. I can't kill Chingan. How dare you ask this, Neeli? But Neeli was very stubborn and went for a hunger strike. Unable to bear the sight of his pregnant wife starving, Kalia decided to bring Chingan home. Chingan was invited for a dinner and he readily agreed. When they reached the middle of the lake, Kalia told the monkey that he is taking him home with an intention to eat his heart. Chingan got scared, but he had attended sessions on life skills. Hence, he didn't panic, he didn't react, but responded to the situation. Chingan said, "You should have told this before. I don't carry my heart with me as it's very heavy. I have kept it safely in the tree trunk. Let's go back, get it, and give it to Neeli." Kalia readily agreed. They went back to the land. As soon as they reached the shore, Chingan jumped into the tree. He said, "You fool, can anyone survive when his heart is kept outside? I considered you as my best buddy, but you proved to be a cheater. Never come back." Kalia became upset and went back to the lake.
Thank you, Jojo sir. I hope all of you are listening, actively listening to the story. Shall I ask you some questions? What's the name of the monkey?
Chingam.
Who is pregnant?
Neely.
The
Name
Kalia
the, name the
crocodile.
husband in the story.
Kalia.
Why did they invite Chinkan?
Feed his heart for lunch actually.
Why didn't Chinkan panic?
Because he was going to die.
He attended life skill
He
program.
attended the life skill programs.
Did you react? Did you react?
No, he didn't react, but he was very calm and replied that he has kept his heart.
Simba responded.
Okay, he responded. That's the correct answer. Okay, custard apple, banana, grapes, and rose apple. What were the fruits that Chinkan gave Kalia?
Custard apple, banana, mango.
Okay.
And banana.
Okay. So, what are the life?
Guava also.
Yes, Goa. What are the life skills depicted here by the monkey?
Decision making, problem solving.
Patience.
Yeah. Critical thinking, creative thinking. Deepti ma'am, next slide, please. Yes, Rio sir. Yeah, critical thinking, decision making, creative thinking, problem solving, and of course, communication skills. And what are the life skills depicted here by the crocodile and his wife? The crocodile and his wife, Kalia and Neeli.
Critical thinking.
Yes, it's not critical thinking. It is
Self-aware.
It is not critical thinking. It's creative thinking, but in a negative way.
Crooked thinking.
Yes, it's crooked thinking. That's creative thinking in a negative way and a wrong decision making. And what are the life skills depicted here by the participants in the Google Meet?
Problem solving.
Problem solving. Did you solve
Listening.
Listening skills.
Yes, active listening, critical thinking, and of course, communication by answering to the questions. And what are the life skills depicted here by the storyteller, Joju sir?
Communication skill.
Yeah, communication skill, the skill of reading. Okay. Yeah, ma'am, could you please move on to the next slide? I would like to show you another picture. This picture was taken during Sudan famine. And this picture depicts a child crawling towards a United Nations food camp, which is located a kilometer away. In this picture, we can see the vultures waiting for the child to die so that he can eat it. And this Pulitzer-winning photograph was taken by Kevin Carter. He got Pulitzer Prize in the year 1994. But 3 months later, he committed suicide in depression. He was excellent in his profession, but he lacked one life-saving skill, empathy. What's empathy? Next slide, please. It's the ability to put oneself in another's shoes. It's the ability to understand and accept others. It's the ability for being nurturing and tolerant. It encourages a positive behavior towards people in need of difficulty. We have seen in the first video how a physically disadvantaged girl was willing to help a poor old man who was tired and was badly in need of a seat. Though she had a reserved ticket with her, she agreed to give the seat, but others didn't show that empathy. So empathy is doing something for others when you also need the same. That is, you are ready to sacrifice as well. So as teachers, as students, we need to have empathy. Next slide, please. People who are the epitome of empathy, let's call them as so. Gandhiji, Mother Teresa, and Nelson Mandela. And after serving 34 years in prison, when Nelson Mandela became the president of South Africa, he never showed any vengeance towards the whites. He was empathetic towards them too. If possible, watch the movie on Nelson Mandela, Invictus. And how can we teach empathy? Empathy is not to be taught. Empathy is to be seen, felt, experienced, and assimilated. And empathy is seeing with the eyes of another. Empathy is listening with the ears of another. Empathy is feeling with the heart of another. In our classrooms, empathy can be developed through various subjects: commerce, economics, history, politics, and of course, literature. Let's see one example from literature. The next slide, please. I have a summary of the story, the short story, The Last Leaf by O. Henry. John C. and Sue were artists who shared some interest and taste in art. They set up a joint studio. As winter got colder, John C. became ill with pneumonia. She got so sick that she believed that when the last leaf fell from the vine outside her window, she would die. Tara, could you please read it for me? Yes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Shall I read it, ma'am?
Yeah, the second paragraph.
An old artist named Berman, who lived in the same building as the girls, braved a storm one night to paint a leaf on the wall, a leaf that would never fall. This gave Johnsy the hope to survive her illness, and it also created the masterpiece. Berman had always dreamt of painting. Cold and wet from painting in the icy rain, Berman caught pneumonia and died.
Yeah, there's a small mistake in the spelling. It's instead of H, it is B in the last line. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
So what are we learning from this? Berman knows very well that if he is going out in the icy rain, he is going to catch pneumonia and he'll die. And he is a person who's waiting for a masterpiece. So without fulfilling his dreams, he is ready to save the life of another person. Though he has fulfilled his dream, he is no more there to watch it and enjoy it and experience it. And it's by his painting, he is giving hope and aspiration to a person, which are the valuable things in life, giving hope to a person. So a beautiful story can be taught, and thus teachers can create empathy in the minds of children. And through every subject, we can cultivate empathy in our children. So what could be the strategies we can use to develop life skills, not just empathy, any life skill? All the activities that we conduct in the classroom can be used. A list is given for you, a few. Next slide, please. Let's conduct debates or discussions. It improves our communicative skills, patience, and cooperation. We can watch videos or films or listening to stories or incidents and share our opinions in the class. Let's discuss about news, dramatization, writing script, learning them, deciding and assigning characters, practicing dialogues, communication, problem solving, and critical thinking are developed. Poetry recitations, reading newspapers, stories, and reporting. We improve our pronunciation, stress, rhythm, intonation, modulation of voice, expressions, etc. And exercises like brainstorming, experiential learning, working in pairs and in small groups, the educational games and simulations, assigning various tasks to children. All these are helpful in developing life skills in children. Assigning tasks, let's take an example. For example, you give 10 rupees to a child. ask him or her to buy ribbons. She is going to the shop and there are ribbons available for 2 rupees, which are of cheap quality, 5 rupees, not so good in quality, 7 rupees, good in quality, and 10 rupees, very good quality, but too expensive. And there's an offer with the 10 rupees ribbon as well. Buy 3 packs, you get 1 pack free. Tell me, what life skills are the child going to apply here? Critical thinking, analysis, comparison, refusal to the offer. I don't need 10 rupees ribbon, I want 3 ribbons. And decision making, choosing the options and checking maybe the 7 rupees ribbon. It is of a good quality as well as it's money saving. That's solving a problem. And arts and music, it helps us to relieve our stress, helps us to develop life skills, meditation and yoga as well. And awareness and alertness programs. What awareness? Awareness on substance abuse, alcoholism, cigarettes, drugs, etc. We know that the latest statistics have shown that majority of children, many children, sorry for the wrong usage, many children are using drugs in schools, not just colleges I'm talking about, in schools. Many children are using alcohol. So many children, of course, are using cigarettes as well. So the number is increasing day by day. So this alarming statistics is something which we have to be aware of and be alertness on the difference between good touch and bad touch. How to say no, when to say no, and how to react when you are molested, humiliated, teased, or bullied, or abused. How to express your feelings or problems to teachers or parents. How to develop the courage for all these. So we need awareness, alertness programs for all these things. And we have to acquire some essential skills along with all these things. What are they? Next slide, please. How to do a network. Next slide, please. Networking in the sense, as far as children are concerned, it's only referring online and learning things. But as far as adults are concerned, what is networking? It's not just preparing blogs, preparing PowerPoints, preparing things. It's also making sure that we are not falling in any fraud or trap. How to avoid burnout. We are tired and exhausted. How to bounce back, or the art of failing with grace. How to be a good partner or a teammate in class. How to communicate and negotiate well. How to protect oneself. And how to say no. And how to distinguish good touch and bad touch.
Why she's not getting?
At home, we should teach our children to cook a basic meal, use washing machine, change a bulb, care elders. Do you remember the advertisement of a tea where the grandfather cares the granddaughter cares the grandfather? Swimming, the necessity of learning swimming was widely discussed during the floods. Riding a bicycle or a bike, it's a good exercise as well as a good environment-friendly travel strategy. Many girls or even housewives are learning to ride a scooter so that they can manage many things on their own. And basic grocery shopping. Every one of us need to learn. Do you remember the movie Vinoda Yatra, where the heroine Meera Jasmine is asking the hero Dilip, what's the price of 1 kilo coconut oil? We use it on a regular basis, but how many of us know its price? Knowing the price of essential commodities help us to realize its value and use it judiciously and avoid wastage. We fall for offers. Many of us fall for the offer, buy one, get one free. Basic sewing skills. Basic hygiene, living with a pandemic. Basic first aid skills. These are things which we need to teach our children at home as well as in the school. And let's read one more story. Birbal Ki Khichdi. Who can read it for me?
Ma'am,
Yes,
I will
please.
do it.
Yeah, Tara, come on.
Birbal Ki Khichdi. It was winter. One day, King Akbar announced a reward of 100 gold coins to anyone who can stand in the cold water pond all through the night and come out when the sun rises in the morning. Many came forward, but soon the pond was empty except one old man. He stood there because he wanted the 100 gold coins to conduct his daughter's wedding. After the sunrise, he got out of the pond and asked for the 100 gold coins. The king asked him, "How could you bear the cold water when even young persons came out of the pond?" The old man said, "I looked at the distant lights in the palace and kept thinking of the warmth the lights give." The king said, "Then you cheated me. You took warmth from my palace lights. I will not give you the gold coins." The old man was very sad and disappointed that his effort had gone waste.
Yes, next slide, please. The story is continuing. Yeah, Tara.
Yes, ma'am. Birbal, a minister, understood that the king was unfair in his decision. He wanted to find a way to communicate this to the king. He invited the king for the dinner that evening. When the king arrived, he found Birbal sitting in the garden near a small fire. He asked, "What are you doing?" Birbal said, "Oh, I am cooking khichdi for your dinner." The king was surprised to see a small pot hanging from the top of the tree while the fire was on the ground. He said, "Birbal, are you stupid? How can the khichdi cook when the fire is down below and the pot is way up?" Birbal said, "When the old man can draw warmth from the palace lights, which are so far away, why can't my khichdi cook from the fire down below?" The king understood his fault and gave the 100 gold coins to the old man and apologized to him.
Thank you, Tara. It was a wonderful reading session. Thank you.
Thank
We
you,
all
ma'am.
enjoyed this. Yeah. So, what are the life skills used by the characters? Yes, please. Oh, it's already shown. What are the life skills used by the characters? Critical thinking. Yeah. Empathy. Critical thinking. Let's see critical thinking first. Birbal understood the problem. The king was unfair by refusing to give the gold coins to the old man. And the second one is empathy. Who empathized?
Birbal.
Birbal empathized with the old man and wanted to help him. Decision making. Who took the decision?
Birbal.
Yes, Birbal decided to help the old man. Communication. Who had a good communication and who had a bad communication?
Ma'am,
Here
Birbal
we
had
can't
the good
say a good
communication.
communication or a bad communication, but we can say
Yeah.
that Birbal is able to explain the pain of that farmer, poor farmer,
Yeah.
and he was able to convey it in a dramatized manner wherein the king is able or can visualize the pain he has gone through while he was in the water.
Excellent, Bhavna ma'am. Excellent. Yeah. So Birbal found a novel and creative way to communicate with the king, whereas the old man was lacking that skill of communication. And being empathetic, Birbal helped him. And creative thinking. Who was creative?
Birbal.
Of course, Birbal was creative. Birbal used a khichdi cooking example to make the king realize his mistake without offending the feelings of the king. Otherwise, you won't have your head above your neck. But some other person used the creative thinking. We call it as crooked thinking. What's that? Who is that? Who is that? King Akbar. He used the creative thinking in a negative way to cheat the old man by saying that you got warmth from the lights, palace lights. So what we need to understand from this is that our skills can be used negatively as well as positively. The same scientists, the group of scientists who invented vaccines as remedies for people, and there are a group of scientists who invents what? Lots of maladies for people as well. So we find that skills can be used negatively as well as positively. And as teachers, it's our duty, it's a responsibility to ensure that we develop that positive skills in child, and we should ensure and that inculcate that positive attitude in children to utilize the skills for the betterment of humanity. not for the destruction of humanity. As someone has rightly said, life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we respond to it. So this comes here. Okay, fine. Let's move on. 90% how we respond to it. We should remember that always. That's very, very important. For example, when Newton University has given him an opportunity to rest, his desire for greater knowledge and to uncover further truths empowered him to continue working, even when he was simply resting under an apple tree. So, what does this show? A creative thinker's mind is always active, even when others might be resting. So, let's make sure that we are creative. We face problems, but we don't react to problems. We respond to problems. We analyze problems. We think of the positives and negative sides, and we inculcate positive values in our children. Thank you so much. Life skills are meant for the betterment of humanity. It's not your career success. It's for your happiness. It's for your, it's for your enlightenment. We can utilize life skills for enlightening ourselves and enlightening humanity. With this positive note, let me wind up. Thank you so much. Ma'am, let's...
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Come on, ma'am, let's end up.
Congratulations, Asha. Excellent presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Mrs. Bhavana Chibar is asking some question.
Is it in? Sir, I couldn't find it in the chat box.
No, it will be read out. It will
Okay.
be read out.
Okay.
It will be read out.
Yes, yes.
Dr. Asha, exceptional presentation,
Thank
great energy, and all of us are really proud to have you here once again. Outstanding session. Everybody enjoyed. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, what about the research scholars? Why don't you read the query?
No, sir, there are no questions in the chat box, sir.
Deepti ma'am, you can stop the slides. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay.
Bhavna ma'am, do you have any question?
Pin to Dr. Asha.
Asha ma'am?
Pin Dr. Asha now. Thank you.
I think that I have to respond to Asha's presentation in one way or the other. She used a number of narratives in the form of stories, and especially some stories of the crocodile and monkey, like that, the old stories, and the thirsty crow, etc. A number of other stories she has used. A year before, more than 10 years back, I have thought to rewrite all the stories in the change the situations, but none of the research students appeared me with such a kind of proposal, but that is kept in my mind.
Let's do it, sir.
So I have a suggestion that we have to, we teacher educators and especially the techno-pedagogues of the 21st century has to take a challenging job of rewriting all these stories, all the old stories in a new context, to make it more meaningful for the 21st century generation.
Bhavna ma'am.
Yeah, tell me.
Please proceed for the question, ma'am. Do you have any question?
No, I don't have any question. I would like to say kind of if you permit, I would like to
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
the
Yes, ma'am. You can
resource
proceed.
person, Asha, ma'am. As the name suggests, Asha is, if we say it, it's a hope. So, as the name you have all together. I'm not aware of who else is participating in this, but I'm so happy that I have taken this chance of joining your session, and the way you have represented that was excellent. Even being a vice principal in the school, I often quote all these examples, but you have beautifully presented in a very very effective manner, and I'm so impressed. uh, and definitely I'll tell Joju sir that I'll be in touch with you.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm so happy to join this session. Thank you, Joju sir. Even though you always text me at the last minute, but somehow in this Saturday, Sunday evenings, I'm little free, so I joined. I joined the session, so I'm so thankful to you. I hope you will bring that kind of a hope and light in everybody's life. And you are awesomely awesome, ma'am. Thank you
Sure,
so
sure.
much.
Dr. Asha, ma'am, you can
Yes,
leave your mobile number and email in the chat box kindly, please.
sure. Sure, sir.
Okay, please. Now, we are moving on to the concluding session. Dear friends, before that, we would like you to do two things. First, all of you have to fill in the feedback form. It is provided in the Google platform and in YouTube also. You have to fill in and ensure that it is successfully completed. That's very important. Now, point number 2. Kindly join Insight Indepth program. The link is provided in the chat box. You have to join Insight Indepth program so that you can be sure to attend the program every week. Benedict sir, shall we conclude?
Yes. Yes.
Finally, move on to proposing vote of thanks and national anthem.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Special thanks to Bhuvana ma'am from New Delhi. Thank you.
Thanking is acknowledging. Let us have the vote of thanks by Nitya SS. I bid Nitya to deliver the vote of thanks. Nitya ma'am, please.
Thank you, Dara ma'am. Respected Principal, Dr. K.Y. Benedict, Research Coordinator, Dr. Joju John, our esteemed guest, Dr. Asha A.K., Research Supervisors, Academicians, Teachers, and dear participants. It's my great privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I take this opportunity to thank all those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this invited talk on life skills, the key to excellence, organized by Martiophilus Training College, Thiruvananthapuram. I take this golden opportunity to thank the respected chief speaker of today's 18th Insight In-Depth session, Dr. Asha A.K., Assistant Professor, Aishabai College of Education, Mumbai. Ma'am, it's a wonderful, inspiring section. Actually, it is a complete package. Includes stories, active listening, interactive section, simple sarigama technique for voice modulation, and it's a wonderful and inspiring section. And she started her talk with an eye-catching video and at a impressive quote. The real kindness is when you are ready to give up something that you need yourself. Ma'am, surely we will cultivate the life skills you gave us in our real life. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. I extend my gratitude to our respected principal, Dr. K.Y. Benedict, not only for spending his time with us today, but also for encouraging us to achieve many endeavors. Thank you very much, sir. It's my immense pleasure to thankful our research coordinator of Martiophilus Training College, Dr. Joju John. Sir, it is always inspiring us each and every steps in our research journey. Thank you very much, sir. Our heartfelt thanks to all research supervisors, academicians, teachers, students, and research scholars for your active participation throughout the session. Thank you. As no program can become successful with a single person, so I extend my big thanks to Research Wing Ignatia for the support. Thank you, my dear buddies, for making this event a wonderful success. Once again, thank you all and have a nice day.
Thank you, Nitya ma'am. I once again thank Asha ma'am for the fantabulous deliberation. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a very interactive session. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, dear Tara. Thank you for cooperating with the story.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Let us wind up the session with the national anthem. National anthem. Thank you, Soumya.
Dr. Asha, thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
We want you again. We want you again back sometime in future.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Sure.
Thanks a lot. Really honored by your presence and outstanding presentation. Now,
Thank you,
maybe because of your presence and because of the topic, the 100 limit was reached even in the beginning of the program today. Okay, and your program in the YouTube was also watched by many participants last time. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
The
Thank
family,
you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
sir, and all the teachers and all the research scholars. Thank you for your presence again. Benedict sir, please.
Benedict sir, സ്റ്റോറിയുടെ കാര്യം നമുക്ക് ആലോചിക്കാം കേട്ടോ സർ.
Yeah, we have to know because all these stories have to be retold as per the contemporary situation.
നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാം സർ. Okay.
The way you interpreted it was really creative and beautiful, Asha. I have attended life skills. That was excellent. Okay, I really enjoyed reading your story. That was exceptional. That was exceptional. And the beginning of the presentation, linking everything with the crow was also very good.
Yes.
Because there was a thread from the beginning to the end.
Yes.
That was the thread. Really good. Thank you.
We have to go beyond the definition. We have to go beyond the definition and listing of life skills given by UNESCO. Because
yes,
after that listing and definitions, I think that more than 2 decades are over.
Yeah, അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാൻ വല്ലാത്ത കുറേ skills
now we are having a